Hi guys, John Moreno here, spinal rehab specialist, physical therapist, and just want to talk to you guys today about traumatic brain injuries or TBIs, because it is TBI month, so we thought we'd talk about that a little bit. So what is a TBI? So traumatic brain injury just means that you suffered some sort of trauma to your head region, basically affecting your brain because of an outside source, an outside impact, whether it's because you play football, you got hit in the head, or you play some other sport, got hit in the head, or you were driving a car, got in an accident, and then hit your head against the window or the airbag, or any other sort of situation. Even if it's a light tap that just resulted in your head, in your brain hitting the wall of your skull, that is considered traumatic brain injury. Although the very lighter ones are what we know as concussions. So there are 3 different levels to TBIs. It's mild, moderate, severe, and like I said, the mild one is what we call concussions, more commonly called concussions. Now, how do they rate that? Well, most places use what's called the Glasgow Coma Scale. Glasgow Coma Scale, the way they do it, the way they rate it, basically the higher your score is, the better off you are. That means you weren't as affected by your traumatic brain injury. The lower score means you really were affected and you're much less functional. So why does that matter? Because everybody responds to different forces differently. So somebody might get in the head very lightly, but it could create a whole lot of symptoms for them, and then we need to help them recover from that. Somebody could have a whole lot of force applied to their head, but they're perfectly fine. So again, everybody's different. We know it's not cookie cutter. Exercise program is not going to cut it for everyone. Everybody has their own individual needs, and everybody's affected in their own individual way. So what are some of those signs and symptoms that can happen from these traumatic brain injuries? I'm going to go over the ones for concussion, since that's mostly what we're going to be dealing with here in the outpatient setting. If you typically have a moderate or severe traumatic brain injury, you are going to probably need a little bit more intensive care and a little bit more specialized clinical areas. We can still probably help you out if you haven't had success elsewhere, but it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. We are going to need a little bit more time, because obviously you should probably require a lot more equipment than what a traditional outpatient physical therapy place has. So again, if you have those more serious issues, probably better to start somewhere else first. Now, eventually you will progress to this point, or at least I hope anyway, assuming you are getting better, because that's the natural progression of things. You start off very low, you're significantly affected, and then so now we have to build you back up from place to place, specialization to specialization, until we finally get you here, and then try and finish you off to really help you fully grasp your capabilities with your balance and trying to get you back to living your life as normally as possible. So again, signs and symptoms for the mild traumatic brain injury, aka the concussion, could be nausea, vomiting. You could have had a loss of consciousness. Now that's a more obvious sign that you probably had a concussion. Don't always have to have a loss of consciousness. No, you could still have a concussion without it. Obviously, just general fatigue, feeling lightheaded, being very sensitive to bright lights, to loud noises, having also just a feeling of not feeling very well. So especially with like the kids, this could be an issue, because they could just tell their parents, their teacher, their coach, hey, I'm not feeling so well, and then they can automatically be turned back on them, and they could use excuses like, oh no, you're just using that as an excuse, or what else are you feeling? If you're not feeling anything else, how am I supposed to believe you? So just get over it. No, that's not the case. If you had a concussion and you're not feeling well, you need to let someone know, and if you're that someone else, you need to take that complaint seriously. And so we need to probably check them out, see what's going on, and see why they're not feeling so well. So all those are legitimate signs and symptoms that you can suffer from having a concussion. Okay, so now, great, I know what it is, I know how to identify it. Now what do I do with that information? All right, so I imagine you're going to want to get better from your ailments. So again, you could have a loss of balance, loss of strength, loss of overall cardiovascular fitness, just because of your fatigue and just not feeling well to continue to exercise the way that you had been. And so we want to help with all of that. So what you can do, obviously what we can do here is physical therapy. Obviously we can evaluate you without the need for a referral now here in the state of Texas, but we're going to have very limited time to apply the treatments. We have a 10 business day window to do that. So it is a little bit more convenient to go see a medical doctor first, get a referral, have them check you out first as well, so that way there's multiple providers looking at you and checking you out. So either way, once you get here, then we'll evaluate you, see what exactly is going on, see what's bothering you the most, see what you're most limited in. Obviously, everybody has different goals. So if you're a football player, you probably want to get back to playing football. If you work in construction, you probably want to be able to bend and lift without falling over and falling off high place and sustain another injury. So there's different things that everybody wants to be able to do. So we'll evaluate you, see what we have to do to be able to get you back to doing that. And then once we do our evaluation, see what we need to work on, then we proceed with working on that. So obviously we can work a lot on our proprioception. So again, just knowing where your body is in space. Can work a lot on just straight up balance activities, progressing you from very firm flat surfaces to very uneven surfaces. Again, just to get your brain trained and retrained really to learn how to function again. Sometimes when we get those injuries, the brain kind of resets a little bit. It might not be the most appropriate word, but we can think about it that way. So it has to relearn how to move again. So we can definitely help out with that. Again, just starting with general movements, see what you're having trouble with. Let's say you can't really raise your arm, or you can't really raise your leg that well. We'll start with those, adjust the muscles that are in that area, make sure they're strong enough to help you do what they need to do, and then help you learn how to most effectively recruit all those muscle fibers to move it in the way that we need you to move it so you can function better. Obviously, that's one phase of what we can do, and just like I was saying before with the progressions, eventually you're going to reach a point where you're getting better here, and once you're better, then you're going to be done with physical therapy, because we're here to help you return to your functional level of life. And now if you want to go beyond that, again, let's say you're in football or some other sport, basketball, track, whatever it may be, soccer, you're going to want to elevate your game even beyond those basic functional abilities. So what we have here, we have a wellness program. So with the wellness program, our personal trainer, Renee, here at this clinic, at the physician's clinic, or Chris at the other clinic at Edgemere, will be able to evaluate you themselves, and then again, they can kind of go based off what we left off on, but then they're also going to go and build off on their own, because then they have their own special skills of what they can do to help you further improve your balance, so that you can get back to those single limb activities, those dynamic activities, those high pace activities that you need to be able to do for your sport. Obviously, we're going to help you as much as we can here in physical therapy, but then that's just the next step to get you even better. And then another thing, if you're just unsure about all of that, another service we provide are free screens. So with those free screens, not only do we talk with you, see what's going on, but you can also schedule a free screen specifically to have your balance assessed. So we use things such as C3 Logix, and we also have a Biodex machine. But those machines, those devices, help us see where you're at overall with your balance. So if you want to schedule a free screen, you can definitely call us and we can set that up, and then likely one of our technicians or even one of the therapists ourselves can go through that process with you and see just how well or how bad your balance is and how affected you may have been from your concussion. So again, everybody suffers from concussions or even worse, traumatic brain injuries differently. If you need help, you want help, then we are definitely here for you, and we'll do everything we can within our power to help you get back to living the life that you want to live. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Again, John Moreno here at Spinal Neuro Specialist, and you guys have a great week.